The air, water, earth, and sun awes us. The four awesome forces of nature can provide 1,000 times more energy than we need. You are also awesome. You and me and all Earthkind are the fifth element. We are literally changing the world. Technology is now harnessing nature's awesome power for electricity, heat, and transportation. And the best news is that the clean energy transition can save us money and create a more prosperous, just, beautiful, and sustainable civilization today. Well, welcome to the Awesome Earthkind podcast. And if you would, let folks know who you are, where do you live, and what kind of work do you do?
So my name is Chef Chris Galarza. I am the founder, culinary sustainability consultant for Forward Dining Solutions. And basically what I do is I help entities, companies, restaurateurs, chefs find a sustainable way into um, electric cooking. So I help them get away from gas and go into electric and create a more um, an environment, a cooking environment that kind of works for you.
Outstanding. So we usually have to start off the show asking folks if they have an inspirational quote that they'd like to share with people that kind of sets the frame and the mindset for folks. Do you have one to share, Chris?
Yeah. So one I heard from when I was in high school that really changed how I look at things, which was Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." So whatever it is you don't like, instead of complaining about it, do something about it. Live that change.
Nice. Awesome. Oh, like to ask why. So why are you doing electric cooking, Chris? What's
So
driving you?
yeah, that's a really good question. So I got into electric cooking accidentally, actually. I was hired on to Chatham University's Eden Hall campus, which was being constructed to be the world's first fully self-sustained university campus.
Hmm.
And I was on to help them create an electric kitchen. So my background being, working at five-star, five-diamond resorts, all the way down to mom and pop restaurants, I never worked with electric cooking. So it was all new to me, and we were kind of creating it on the fly. And for the last 5, 6 years, that's all I've done. So I kind of had this aha moment in the middle of like construction, in the middle of creating this, that what if this works out, this can be like life changing. So once we got into the kitchen, I was excited and nervous. And when I was with my rep, getting trained on the equipment, and I asked him, "Can you explain how this stuff works?" He flat out said, "Listen, buddy, I just sell it. I don't really know much about it. So you're the expert. Figure it out." And that's exactly what I did. So after that, I realized that like if people are going to be doing this, they need somebody to teach them. And then I just started learning, and then I thought maybe when I retire, I can do that. So fast forward to 2018, Microsoft reached out. They wanted some. They wanted to talk with me about some questions, and that's kind of what kickstarted my consulting career. So I just decided to fast track that, and now I'm doing that full time.
So, okay, so tell me what you do. So, okay, you've been a chef all the way from, like you said, mom and pop restaurants up to 5 stars, et cetera, et cetera. But what do you do with this electric cooking now? So first, what is it? How does it work? I mean, everybody thinks of these little electric coils and they can't
Right.
imagine a professional chef using an electric stove. So tell us how this stuff works.
So let's easiest way to think about it is I'm going to go into simple and complex. So imagine a microwave, right? And it uses these microwaves to get inside the food and oscillate the water molecules. So on a molecular structure, at a molecular level, it creates friction, which in turn creates heat. So you're essentially heating your food from the inside out. So what we're doing with induction is we're using an electromagnetic current to do the same thing by oscillating the ferrous or magnetic uh, molecules in the pan to create the heating, which means that the pan itself is a heating element. So what we're able to do is because of the linear structure of the pan of how metallic molecules work, you're able to get a lot of energy in rather quickly. So we're able to boil water in say 2 minutes.
Wow. So
Yeah,
faster than gas.
much faster. Like if you look at the data, you can see that if everything is exactly equal, the only thing different is gas. like the best gas range you can buy, and electric. In 1 hour, you can produce 38.9 pounds of food per hour on gas, as opposed to 70.9 pounds of food in electric. So you can cook way more food in way less time, and it's super easy to clean, and it makes your kitchen much more comfortable, which in turns makes your building work more efficiently because it's not trying to cool itself down because of how hot the kitchen is. Everything just works a lot better. And now what you find is that your staff are much more comfortable. Everything's kind of smoother.
So, wait, I mean, chefs, everybody always thinks cooking with gas, it's the best thing ever. It's not the case anymore.
No, it's not the case anymore. And actually, people who think that are often the people that say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The problem with that mentality is that people who say that never take the time to examine their beliefs and examine their workstation to see if there's anything that they can be doing better. Case in point, cooking with gas.
So, all right. So, induction stove tops, basically, it's, as I understand it, it's kind of a magnetic field that gets formed, and then, it, as you're saying, makes the pans actually do the heating, as opposed to the old electric style coils that heated up on your stove and everything else. And you're saying now the benefits are, one, without gas, you don't have all the off gassing, so you don't have all the combustion and all those nasty things that get into the air that actually have a dramatic effect. My understanding
Right.
is on
Oh yeah.
childhood asthma and breathing, right? I mean, is that
Right. Oh
true?
yeah. Especially now when you think about COVID.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it attacks the lungs. So right now, the conversation is about clean air. Think of California. We always think of that as like the bastion of sustainability, right? Like the mecca of the green movement. But they, in the last few years running, had the worst air quality in the nation. And that's because of those wildfires. So that plus COVID, the the mindset now is how can we make the things that we can control cleaner. So the indoor air quality for the elderly, for children, for the workers, like if you're pregnant, for the survivors of COVID. And the best way to do that is to eliminate gas, because that way you eliminate carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, the soot, all that stuff that comes from burning natural gas.
Yeah, so we had a while back some folks from New England who were talking about the fact that when you cook with gas, the indoor air quality actually can be so bad that it would be illegal if it was outside.
Yeah. The data behind that is that the outdoor air quality, the outdoor air concentration of carbon monoxide is 0.03 to 2.5 parts per million. The federal standard cannot exceed 9 parts per million max. Before everything gets shut down, they have to find the source of the contamination. When you're cooking with gas, it's not uncommon for it to far exceed 200 parts per million. And that's detrimental.
Wow,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
That's just carbon monoxide. We're not even talking about dioxide, sulfur dioxide, none of that.
Right. Yeah, my understanding too is that your risk of childhood asthma, if you've got kids around, is dramatically higher. Is that
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So it's imperative that we, when talking about sustainability, when talking about electrification and decarbonization, it has to start with the kitchen, because that's the biggest culprit.
Huh. So, in addition, when you're now in a professional cooking situation, you're saying that not only is it an air quality issue, but also it's a temperature issue. So, you're actually much more comfortable with these electric
Right.
induction stovetops as opposed to a gas because you're not creating so much heat. You don't have all this wasted heat going on. Is
Exactly.
that and
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I have data to back that up. So I have a week that we actually recorded this in my own kitchen at when I was running Chatham Eden Hall. That at the indoor or the kitchen temperature did not exceed 72 degrees Fahrenheit, despite that week having temperatures outside far exceeding 85 degrees Fahrenheit. So even through production, we were cooler inside in the kitchen next to the ovens than we were being outside with the fresh air.
wow.
Yeah.
And in terms of being able to control the way that you cook the food and how it, the temperatures and all like that, give me the comparison.
So, all right. So if I were to say, Ron, I need you to, braise the lamb shank for ossobuco on medium low. What does that actually mean? Because you have low and you have medium, you have this big gap in between what that actually is. So your medium low might be different from my medium low, which can affect the quality of what we're serving later on. But if I say, Ron, when you simmer that ossobuco at a level 2 on induction, then it's consistent. If I say go and sear that flank steak at 435-degree flat top, you can consistently track that. So it gives you much more controllability. It gives you much more precision when it comes to cooking that you wouldn't have with gas. And also, we also have to think about the size of the pan. So when you're using gas, depending on the size of the pan, depends on how much heat or how much fire is actually hitting that pan. So, like I said before, the gas ranges at best are 50% efficient, which means if you have a 60,000 BTU burner, 30,000 BTUs are literally getting burned and tossed into your kitchen, which isn't going into the pan, isn't going into the food, and it's just wasting your money.
Wow. So better control, more efficiency. It sounds like it's even more cost effective since it is more efficient. No heating issues in terms of heating up the kitchen, so you don't have to cool it as much. More comfortable and productive staff. You're saying you could cook almost twice as much food in the same amount of time.
Right.
Why isn't everybody doing this?
That's the $1 million question, and that really comes from a couple of things. For starters, we as Americans don't like change. We believe that what we're doing is perfectly correct, that we've been doing it for so long. Why change it? But like I said before, we have to examine our beliefs. How can we be making things better? And also, we as chefs, a lot of times, we hate change. We like to control everything, and if someone comes in to offer us change, automatically we're out of our element and we push back. So what I do is I help come into these projects, and I walk the walk, I talk the talk, so I can connect with these chefs on a professional level and show them how it could benefit their operations. So many times I see architects and engineers could go into these meetings and they get eaten alive by these chefs, because these chefs are like, absolutely not. Despite what the engineers and architects say, they've never worked in the kitchen. And if you are the building owner, you're going to trust your team. So it's imperative to have chefs who know what they're talking about, like myself, to go into these meetings and kind of take control of the narrative.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you got induction stovetop cooking. What do you do with ovens?
There are electric ovens. Electric ovens have been around for a long time, and also
Mhm.
induction as well. They've been around. Induction's been around for 30 years in Europe. If you do any sort of international competition, it's always electric. So, which means American chefs, if they're competing internationally, they're already behind the 8 ball as far as being ready for that competition. So they got to work that much harder.
Wow.
Yeah,
Had no clue.
yeah.
So, what percentage of chefs are now cooking with induction and doing electric versus in the U.S. and then worldwide? Like,
So I'd say less than 1% here in America,
mm-hmm.
and worldwide. This off the top of my head, I don't have data to back it up. I'd say minimum 30%.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah, there's 3 Michelin star restaurants across the nation, like across the world, that are all electric.
And so, I mean, obviously, I guess you see this trend continuing.
Oh, for sure. As we are like the, the tragedy of COVID is that it's also given us the opportunity to reevaluate, reimagine, and just change things for the better. So you've seen, you know, Michelin star restaurants like Alinea in Chicago transition to selling burgers and stuff like that. So we've seen people, and we've seen these breweries that never offered food now offering food, because here in Pennsylvania you couldn't buy alcohol without there being food present. So like there was a lot of adaptation, a lot of growth that happened in a short amount of time. And also during that time, we realized that when everyone was sitting at home and nobody was out and about going to restaurants or anything like that, the air quality and water quality of places, especially like New Jersey, my home state, was significantly cleaner in just a matter of months. So that that pushed a lot of cities like San Francisco and places like that, Oakland, San Jose, Berkeley, to go and do these gas bans on top of their own sustainability goals. And this is only becoming more and more popular. And as people continue to talk about the the good that comes from induction, comes from green cooking, comes from electric kitchens, it's only going to be more and more popular. The only thing that stands in our way is, for lack of a better term, politics. I mean, people like to like to hold on to things, and we're hoping to change that mindset.
Great. So how do you see this evolving? I mean, what is it that you're doing that's going to help make the difference, and how do you see the whole industry kind of moving forward?
So, I mean, the whole industry usually moves forward when things are popular, or usually moves forward when there's proven concepts. So, like, I can say that Alinea, like I just mentioned, the French Laundry, like, Thomas Keller's restaurants, those are all electric kitchens. Yeah, those are the best kitchens in America, all electric, right? Um, when you start to see these proven concepts, people will fall in line. The problem is it's not being talked about. So what I'm doing is I'm coming on places like your show. I've spoken at one conference already this year. I have two more coming up. We're finishing writing a decarbonization and electrification guide that will give you 200 plus pages on what electrification is, what decarbonization is, and it's going to be published and free for anybody who wants to get into it and learn it. Um, it breaks everything down for you. So it's all about getting the message out. It's all about being vocal, getting in front of people, and just explaining and teaching what this actually means.
Cool. So along the way, what kind of challenges have you encountered, and what kind of lessons have you learned?
So the challenges that I've encountered is that people will make up any reason to not change. So, case in point, like when I do presentations now, I actually include a myth busting section. And I've actually had a couple of chefs rip this off, which is great. The more people talking about it, the better. So, I had one chef say that they have a staff member with a pacemaker and they cannot be around electromagnetic currents. And it's incumbent on them to protect their staff.
Uh-huh.
Which I said the electromagnetic current is, but the majority of it is about 3 inches above the surface, and unless your staff's laying on the equipment, that's a terrible idea. So, but that's the level of excuses that I'm hearing.
Uh-huh.
Heard that you can't saute on induction because once you remove it from the element, it's no longer being heated.
Uh-huh.
Exactly the same way gas works. So if you take it off the fire, there's nothing heating that pan, but you're still able to saute. Metal holds on to heat. There's a myriad of these that I touch on, but it's just that's the biggest hurdle I've seen is people just coming up with excuses as to why. And then once you expel all these rumors, all these myths that they make up, then you get into the real meat and potatoes of why they don't want to change. And then you talk about the positives, and then they're all for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So would you say that if you took one thing that you think people need to know, something unique and that most people don't know, what would you say it would be?
That say the one thing that people need to know. I would say that induction is safer, cleaner, and faster than gas, but bar none. And I'm actually going on another podcast, Richard Rosendale's podcast, which is a big certified master chef. I'm going to be talking about this with them as well because they also have the preconceived notion that gas is better than electric. So I'm gonna go school them on that.
Great. In most of our careers, all of us have gone through some sort of downtimes, and in those horrible bottom out, we kind of sometimes come to some inspiration and conclusions. Would you say that? Could you share one of yours and what happened and what you got out of it?
So sorry, repeat the question one more time.
Yeah. So basically, what was the worst moment that you've had in this whole journey that, if you would care to share, and what kind of insights did you get out of it?
Worst moment. Oh man, I would say worst moment I would say is that not like so this is all new to me, right? Consulting, it's all new to me. So the worst moment I'd say is that when I had a group of people come out and we were giving a tour of the campus and I was explaining to them how this all works. And it was just I had someone trying to help that was doing it worse. And then the power went out and I was like, everything's just going wrong. So I had to explain to them that of course if the power goes out, you can't cook, but also it's illegal to cook when the power's out, gas or electric. I don't care if we're able to. It's illegal. So I couldn't cook in a kitchen. So like, but they just kept going on and on. And the guy that was with me wasn't helping. He was saying that like, oh, it's work off technology. He pulled up his phone and everyone thought I had to go through regular updates like your iPhone. And I had to just, it was just a nightmare. So ever since then, I just try to really stick to the facts and handle any misconceptions around that, because I just got manhandled. That was like my first time talking to anybody, and I was like, oh, I did terribly. So that was rough. But as far as like projects and stuff like that go, I honestly have never had a chef still say no after I've talked with him. I have never had a client still be against induction after talking with them. So once you share with people the positives, the truths, if you will, behind induction, people are all about it.
Great. All right. We're going to enter what we call the Pulsar Round, where we're going to ask you a series of short, and what we're looking for, we're going to ask you a series of questions, and what we're looking for is a series of short, succinct, and amazing, mind-blowing answers. Are you ready, Chris?
Let's do it.
Here we go, man. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Get out of your head.
Get
The
out
worst,
of your
the worst
head.
enemy is the little voice in your head.
The one that says you can't do it.
Yep.
That's the one. All right. Good advice. All right. Share one of the personal habits that contributes to your success.
No matter what, I'm working from home. I always wear my chef coat. It gives me the illusion that I'm at work, right? Instead of being at home where my Xbox is. So always try to keep yourself professional, even when you're working from home.
Awesome.
Be diligent.
And be diligent. There you go. An internet resource that you'd care to share with our listeners.
Good internet resource. Honestly, I like LinkedIn. You search those hashtags. I found a lot of great studies. Like Harvard just released a study recently about they linked natural gas to rates of hospitalizations and deaths. It's fascinating.
So LinkedIn hashtags.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. So and then verify those sources.
Yeah. Always verify, right? Always verify. Good. All right. A book you'd recommend for awesome Earth kind people and why?
Oh, it's got to be What Einstein Told His Cooks. It's a great book that goes in through like the science of cooking, a very easy to understand way. I lent it to one of my cooks and she fell in love with it. Definitely buy that book. And yeah,
What's the name of it? Do you know?
What Einstein Told His Cooks.
What Einstein Told His Cooks is the name of the book. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought.
The Flavor Bible. If you're starting to cook from home,
Uh-huh.
play around with the Flavor Bible. It breaks down what flavors go together, so it's super easy.
The Flavor Bible. Awesome. All right, Chris, if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and change one thing for everybody in the world, what would it be?
It would be the destigmatization of electric cooking, and if I could wave anything, it would just be to eliminate all gas cooking and all that stigma behind it.
Awesome. All right. We go into this section, which we call WTF or F, Weathertime Fudge, an extreme weather event that you live through and tell the tale, or Weathertime Fun, and the most fun you've ever had and the type of weather it was. So this is where we share stories about climate change or just their stories about weather, having fun in the weather. So take a pick.
Oh man, well I'm gonna say there's a couple. So I'll say my most fondest one is a weird one. So it was a hurricane. It was right before Hurricane Katrina. I was living in Florida, and I think it was another one that came through. I can't remember the name, but it was my first hurricane ever, and like we were terrified. Like we're from New Jersey, like we're never lived through a hurricane, so we're barricading stuff, and then we're ready to go. We have food, we have everything we need, and then around 3 in the morning we lose power, and my everyone's asleep. My stepdad and I just are outside. Well, we're listening to what's happening outside, and he and I are like, we should open that door and check it out. And he's like, yeah, I think we should. So we opened the door, and it just flung open. There was stuff flying in the house, and we were just both of us, big dudes, trying to shut this door. And we just laughed, and my mom was livid with us because we had tree branches and just water in the house. It was so awesome. And then after it was all done, we walked outside, and for the first time and only time I've ever been in Florida that this happened, there was no humidity. It felt like a perfect fall day, and I just enjoyed that day more than anything.
Wow.
it's a little bizarre, but it's a fun memory.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one for sure. And let's hope as we get through climate change and we get through and we get to the other side, it becomes a much nicer world. So
Yeah,
that would be
agreed.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. What's the one thing you're most energized about today?
One thing I'm most energized about is that people are actually taking this topic serious. And there's a lot of people like yourself that are talking about it. So thank you for giving it a platform, because the more people that hear about it, the more people that take it seriously, the more we can actually move things forward.
Yeah, I think part of it is that folks are just waking up that everyone's having these experiences now. So, where we never used to get so many hurricanes or superstorms or
Right.
tornadoes or droughts or fires or et
Oh, yeah.
cetera, et cetera. It's just, I think everyone has their own personal experience now. So they're relating it to it more and they're seeing it happen faster and faster. And it's just
Right.
something we can't deny anymore.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I remember in 2017 or yeah, 17 or 18, there was that big hurricane that covered the entire state of Florida. My mom couldn't get out, so it was sobering to just think like, wow, this might be the last time I talked to my mom, all because of a hurricane, all because we can't get our stuff together.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Florida's going to see some of it already. In Miami, just in the normal tides now, they're flooding the streets because
Yeah.
the sea level is rising. So,
Yeah.
little by little, we're all seeing it, experiencing it, and because of that, I think all of us are getting much
Yeah.
more serious about doing something about it, which
I
is
just wish that people would stop equating this movement of ours to politics, because it has nothing to do with that. All we want is a better world. That's it.
right. Exactly, exactly, and it's a shame. And the good part, I think, is that there are people on whatever sort of piece you're on on the political spectrum. Even those I had on the show a while back, a guy who's a confirmed conservative, but his feeling, and it is really true, is that if you're conservative, your basic instinct is conserve, and we've got to conserve. We've got to conserve the environment, and if you're right to life, there's no greater threat to life than climate change and wiping out the entire human civilization. So I
Absolutely.
think there's cracks that are starting to happen in this political wall that's been built up that it's one way or the other because it's all of us all together, no matter where you are, where you live, what you do, we're all being affected and it's all our lives.
Right.
So
Yeah.
hopefully this will be the great unification force that brings
Right.
us together so we can
That's
jump ahead. So
exactly what I hope. I hope that this left, right, America, Mexico, whatever it is, we're team human being first and foremost. We need to create a better world for all of us.
yeah, that's the whole idea behind Earthkind, all 7 billion humans on this planet, all women of mankind.
Yep.
So there we go. All right. And we are all awesome and we are all a force of nature now. There's no doubt about it, individually and collectively. All right. So what's your next step, Chris? What are you
So the
doing
next
next?
step is we're finishing up that decarbonization guide, as I mentioned. I have my own podcast as well. We just started. We're retooling it a little bit. It's called Sustainable Overload, where we just do exactly what you're doing. We're just shedding a light on sustainability. And I'm speaking at a what is it, the Green Build conference in San Diego, which is going to be my first trip to California, which is exciting. And we're hoping to be on one other um, conference, which I can't talk about yet because I don't want to ruin my chances. But it should be the same month. And I authored my first article, and I have a spotlight coming out for Cuvée magazine, which is an international magazine that is distributed for the members of the Chaîne de Rotisseurs, which is the oldest gastronomic society in the world, in which I am a member of. So a lot of cool stuff coming around. Having a lot of conversations about future projects and things like that. So we're hoping that things start moving forward, and we, like the company that I own, it's all about forward dining solutions. So we're hoping that things just move forward, and we can start making a difference one kitchen at a time.
Outstanding. One kitchen at a time. All right. So grand finale. End with you sharing a piece of parting advice and the best way for people to get a hold of you.
So parting advice, and this is for anyone, if any young chef is listening, never ever take a job that you're not afraid of. Always take a job that you think is outside your reach, because that's what's going to make you push yourself. That's what's going to make you go in there every day and try to outwork everybody. And that's words to live by. I'm doing this now. This company is it's a scary thing to do, but I truly believe in the mission. I've sacrificed everything to make this work, right? this is my singular concern right now. I left my amazing job at Chatham to focus on this. So if you're out there, push yourself and always keep striving. Always keep doing more. And where you can reach me at is you can reach me at C Galarza. That's GALARZA at forwarddiningsolutions.com. I'm on Instagram at Forward Dining Solutions LLC, Twitter on Dining Forward, and you can find me on LinkedIn as well, looking for Chef Chris Galarza. We're going to be making some big moves in the next couple of years, so stay tuned and let's be on this journey together.
Fantastic. Anything you wanted to say that we missed?
Yeah, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. I appreciate because like I'm a young startup, a minority owned company, and people like you giving me a shot to get to like increase my platform. I couldn't thank you enough. So thank you very much.
No, the feeling's mutual. It's all of us coming together, doing our thing, figuring out where our passions lie, bringing our talents and our abilities to figuring this out. It's a huge puzzle. It's the most complicated ever. There's so many of us on this planet right now to figure it all out. It's going to take all of us to make it happen, and it's really great to see you, and in particular a chef, doing it on the climate side. So it's a wonderful thing, man. So thank you so much for all your good work, and looking forward to seeing you explode and come out there in a good, positive way, obviously.
Yeah, and then I'll come and let the viewers know what's going on next.
That sounds great, man.
Yeah, come on, check out forwarddiningsolutions.com and let me know if there's any projects I can help with.
Outstanding. And we'll have all your contact info in the notes, folks. So just take a look and get a hold of Chris Forward Dining Solutions to figure out how you can cook sustainably and better, faster, cleaner, more efficiently.
Thanks for joining us today, awesome people. We'd like to hear from you, and we'll give you the chance to win a $150 LED light fixture if you help us understand how Awesome Earthkind can help you achieve your clean energy goals. Just go to awesomeearthkind.com and click on Tell Us. When you fill out the survey, you'll automatically be entered into a sweepstakes for a free LED light fixture, and we'll be giving one away every month for the rest of the year. If you like what we're doing, please rate and review the Awesome Earthkind podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're interested in adding clean energy consulting to your existing business offerings, go to awesomeearthkind.com/earn. When you refer us to a commercial building and they decide to go clean and save green with Earthkind Energy's consulting services, your referral will save money and you'll earn finder's fees worth thousands of dollars. Remember, you are an awesome force of nature and can make a real difference. Take your next step to create the clean energy future we all want and our children need and deserve. Until next time, take care, be well, and energize.